I'd like to show some examples of waveforms now and see how they change with different states. Some of the examples that I will be providing are from this excellent textbook by Mark Liebenson on a practical approach to electroencephalography. Here is the first image that I wanted to draw to your attention. And in particular, I'd like you to notice the traces that I've outlined in red. The leads on the top are from the left-hand side. These are central, and these are from the right-hand side. And they're grouped together. The arrows are indicating that the direction is from frontal down to occipital in each of the groups. What you can appreciate in this waveform is that the rhythm is a slow alpha rhythm, a nice repeating alpha rhythm, which occurs when a patient or a person is awake, relaxed, and with their eyes closed. It's a typical posterior rhythm and is the same as the rhythm described by Hans Berger in 1924. Interestingly, if you look at the frontal montages, here or there, you can see that that nice alpha rhythm is not represented frontally. So if you are only monitoring a frontal montage, you won't detect this alpha rhythm that occurs with relaxed wakefulness. The next image that I wanted to discuss is this one, which shows these interesting vertex waves. And there's something that's striking about them, which is that they're well represented in several of these leads, but are not represented in the frontal pole. For example, FP1 and FP2, you don't see the vertex waves. These vertex waves occur in stage 1 sleep. So if you were just monitoring a frontal montage, including the frontal pole, you wouldn't detect these vertex waves that occur during stage 1 sleep. I'm now going to take you briefly through this clip from the operating room, which shows a transition from wakefulness to general anesthesia. There are 3 waveforms at the top, and all of them are from a right-sided frontal montage. This is a right-sided frontal montage, this is a left-sided frontal montage, and there are 3 sweep speeds. The top wave is running at a sweep speed of 12.5 millimeters per second. And this waveform is at 50 millimeters per second, and the intermediate one is at 25 millimeters per second, which is the same sweep speed that we typically run the ECG in the operating room. These are compressed spectral arrays, which are described in greater detail in another module. But what you should notice is this yellow line, which is the spectral edge frequency, that is between 0 Hertz and 30 Hertz. And the spectral edge frequency describes the frequency below which 90% of the frequencies in the EEG lie. So for these clips, you can see that it's roughly 20 Hertz. So 90% of the EEG waves are 20 Hertz or lower, which represents beta, alpha, theta, and delta are all present over here. I'm now going to play the clip, and let's look at the transition from wakefulness to anesthesia and see some of the changes that we notice. So initially you can see the waves running the slow sweep speed at the top, which allows us to appreciate repeating rhythms, and the faster sweep speed at the bottom that allows us to appreciate the individual waves. There is the start of some delta waves in the top waveform, but generally we still have a high representation of beta activity, although it's diminishing. Delta is becoming more dominant. The spectral edge frequency is shifting down as we lose the beta activity and shift to more delta activity as anesthesia deepens. There is a more representation of delta waves. We're going to start to see some spindles on top of the delta waves, and this person, as they're becoming less responsive, there is a run of spindles and more delta waves as anesthesia